Voice of Change News.
This is Voice of Change Radio News. I'm Amanda Kumalo. A quick look at stories making the headlines. Court challenges will not stop pause. ZEC. In business news, current stability, prices continue to fall. In regional and international news, chaos and mayhem as protesters run rampant in parts of Cape Town. In sports news, Dembare feel the pressure. The news in detail. Harmonized elections are slated for August 23 will go ahead as scheduled, and nothing, including the present court challenges, will derail them, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission (ZEC) has said. As such, ZEC has started the printing of ballot papers for constituencies and wards where there is no contestation, reacting to claims that some cases before the courts could result in delays or possible postponement of the polls. ZEC said all is set for the elections. This comes as the court has delayed the dispatch of voting materials after ZEC suspended the printing of ballot papers that will be used for the presidential election, as well as in more than a dozen National Assembly polls. However, ZEC Vice Chairman Ambassador Rodney Kiwa told the media yesterday that failure to hold the harmonized polls on the date proclaimed by the president was not an option. Meanwhile, Zimbabwe is showing the world that it is a prolific sanctions buster, something made possible by maintaining a united front through thick and thin, President Mnangagwa has said. In his address to hundreds of thousands of ZANU-PF supporters in Mashonaland East at the weekend, President Mnangagwa said Zimbabwe had managed to show its detractors that once you sanction a nation, the people will come together in unity and work together. The president said Zimbabweans had successfully cultivated a spirit of unity, hence nothing would hamper its current development trajectory, contrary to what had been previously thought by Western nations when they imposed punitive measures on the country. Even under sanctions, the country has managed to achieve undeniable milestones that have led to Zimbabwe registering growth on all fronts and even breaking records. In other news, the ongoing presidential bore drilling scheme initiated by President Mnangagwa last year to improve availability of clean water by drilling a bore in every one of the 35,000 villages was extended to urban areas neglected by CCC and MDC councillors who dominated those councils, and the urban portion will now see 1,000 bores with solar pumps drilled in urban areas. A growing number of urban bores have now been drilled with areas that are traditionally hit waterborne diseases such as Budiriro and Chitungwiza being prioritized. Successive opposition councillors have dismally failed to address the water situation, which has left residents having to resort to unclean water sources, thereby getting exposed to waterborne diseases or pay high prices demanded by those with private wells and bores. Moving on to business news. Local current stability has led to the continued reduction of many prices of basic goods. There was a major fall in the cost of living last month, with the month-on-month inflation at minus 15%, largely driven by a fall of more than 30% in the prices of food and non-alcoholic drinks, although prices of most other goods remained constant. The Consumer Council of Zimbabwe has confirmed the thickness of some prices of essential goods and services, and believes that all suppliers who pushed up their prices or fees when the exchange rate movements showed that the Zimbabwe dollar was losing value should be adjusting downwards as the Zimbabwe dollar gains value. In news beyond our borders, Cape Town. The Cape Town tech strike entered its fifth day on Monday after talks between the South African National Tax Council, SANTACO, the City of Cape Town, and the Western Cape government broke down on Sunday. Widespread public violence related to the strike was reported across the city, and at least 2 people were shot dead on Monday. Golden Arrow buses, private and municipal vehicles have been burnt. And finally, in sports news, under fire, Dynamo's coach Herbert Marua started a 5-game battle to save his job on a disappointing note after his team fired blanks in the goalless draw against Wange at Baba Fields on Sunday. The Dynamo's leadership has made it open they've invested in a team good enough to fight for the premiership title, but the Glamour boys are currently blowing hot and cold, resulting in them trailing Pesetas Islanders by 9 points. Dynamos have been difficult to predict this season. Dynamos, who are celebrating their 6th anniversary this year, are eager to mark the milestone with some silverware at the end of the season. That brings us to the end of this bulletin.
Voice of Change News.